Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Duru from Ahan Analytics, writing 122 with the market breadth. So I wanted to do a quick review. Let me switch over to TradingView. Something happened to Zoom video communications last week that while the major indexes were made new all-time highs, Zoom suddenly fell out of bed. Now, this was significant to me because for a long time, I've been assuming that at some point, investors, traders would get enamored with Zoom and at least send it on to one last hurrah of a run. Just in case you have been asleep since the pandemic, let me just show you what's happened to Zoom. So I'm zooming out here, and you can see it's been in a trading range since, let's just say, 2023. And my assumption has been that at some point it would break out of this range and zoom up to, say, maybe these former highs right around 125. And again, like I said, in case you've been asleep since the pandemic, this is the bubble that was or is Zoom. Got up as high at almost to 600 bucks before completely collapsing afterwards. Anyway, my point was is that I was a big fan of Zoom as being an undervalued play that eventually would break out. Suddenly, last week, it just lost, let's see, what was this? This was 3.7%, and then 4.3%, and then this little small loss. But the most important point here is that it went to an all-time low. I did not expect that to happen. And when that happened, at the same time, another stock that I thought would bottom, say last summer, was Teledoc. This is another post-pandemic or pandemic darling. And again, in case you've been sleeping since then, Teledoc, well, let's take a look at the bottom. I thought that was 2023. That was around in, actually, I thought it was bottoming up here. You can see it was in a trading range and it looked like it was setting up a base. And then it collapsed later in the year and it's been all downhill since then. Like Zoom, Teledoc had its bubble, but actually its bubble started before the pandemic and really took off during the pandemic. It got as high as, I don't know, what is this, a little over 300. Anyway, it also accelerated its collapse last week, and that was in place since the last two earnings disasters. And it is now testing an all-time low. Now, why do I mention these two? Because these are two, Zoom and Teledoc were pandemic darlings in the sense that a new era had begun and everything's going digital and virtual and so on. And these were going to be some of the key tools. And that just didn't pan out as far as the stocks are concerned. So it had me thinking, ARK Investments or ARK Innovation Fund is a major buyer of stocks like these. And I thought to myself, well, let me check out how ARK has been doing. Like, is ARK still invested in these losers? And sure enough, it is. So I went to Swingtradebot. As everyone should know by now, I'm a big fan of Swingtradebot. I'm a subscriber. So some of the things I show you may not be available if you're not a subscriber. Now, one of the things I like to do, let's just get our bearings straight here first, and let's go to the ETF section for Swingtradebot. And let's just compare ARK Innovation, oops, sorry, ARK Innovation ETF to the triple Qs. Kathy Wood of ARK Investments loves to make fun of the triple Qs and the people who follow the indexes because QQQs are full of old line big cap tech companies that will be undermined by all the innovative companies in ARK. But what's been happening, ARK had its day for I think about a year or two. And then of course the pandemic supercharged it, but ARK has collapsed since then. So let's just compare ARK to triple Qs using Swingtradebot. You could see the grade, vast difference, D versus an A. You can look at the relative performance over the last year, 30, 60, 90 days, 12 months. QQQ beats it hands down. You can also look at the overlapping holdings. There's only 4 overlapping holdings, which you would expect again because ARK is all about innovative companies that are going to topple the companies in the triple Qs, supposedly topple. And then you could also look at how ARK is overweighted and underweighted against various positions. That's not so important for this discussion. So anyway, what you can see here is that ARK is an underperformer relative to QQQ. You could, of course, go back to the charts and just take a look at ARK's history. You can see it's barely above its pandemic low. That's pretty amazing, but not amazing when I take a look at what's in the ARK holdings. It's still well below its pre-pandemic high. And let me just go to a weekly view of ARK. And here you can see ARK. It had this great run from 2017, and the pandemic supercharged ARK, and then it collapsed. And it's been trying to base ever since, let's just call it since 2022. Now, at some point, I think ARK will turn things around, but one of the things weighing it down is the fund's insistence on holding losers till almost it seems like they're going to go to zero. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's go back here to Swingtradebot, and I'm going to look at ETF holdings so we can take a look at what's in the ARK ETF these days. And it's sorted by allocation, and you can see this grade thing here. And what I'd like to do is just let's take a look at the grades. And actually, let's hover over this so you can see what Swingtradebot means by a grade. Let's see. Okay, I thought this was a tooltip. Well, we can go back, but the grade is sort of this synthetic calculation the Swingtradebot does. It's not a direct guide for investment, but just allows you a relative comparison across stocks. And what you can see here is that ARK doesn't have a single A-graded stock in the ETF. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 B-rated stocks. So, that's not too bad. But then it's full of a lot of junk. And well, junk is a harsh term for the C's. I mean, C is, let's just call this average. So there's 3, 6, 7, 8. Let's go to the second page. 8 C rated, one D rated, and then the rest are pure junk. They're plain old rated Fs. And this is important because you can see now almost half of ARK is full of F-rated stocks. And some of these are really bad. Like I said, Zoom, all-time lows now. Teledoc, essentially testing all-time lows. Path was one of the recent blow-ups. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Was one of the recent blow-ups here. And, there are blow-ups all over the place in some of these stocks, unfortunately, and, or single-digit stocks that are languishing in single digits. It's really kind of amazing to see this stuff. And some of these holdings are really big, like Block is a 6% allocation, has a 6% allocation. Roku has an 8% allocation. So these are significant holdings in stocks that are essentially losers at this point. So anyway, this is a very quick way of looking at the why an ETF might be graded a certain way. So if you remember back when I was comparing ARK to the triple Qs, ARK was rated D and triple Qs was rated an A. And you can see why ARK has that D rating because, again, almost half of the stocks in the ETF are rated Fs. So like I said, so that's a pretty sad statement, but you know how ETFs work. If enough of the stocks in here can take off, then it could do okay. And we all know Tesla is a huge weighting, and I think Kathy Wood came out with the 2,600 price target on Tesla, which would be a massive increase. So say Tesla did make that, Tesla would again be the primary driver of ARK performance. So, I keep a small amount of ARK just because I want to be around for whenever it is ARK gets revived. I think it will revive. It may always underperform the major indexes. I have no idea, of course, but I just want to have a small holding. And if ever ARK gets above its pre-pandemic high, then that would be a bullish signal to increase holdings in that ETF. So anyway, thought I'd just take a quick round of that because Zoom reminded me of this discussion. And let me again go back. Maybe some news is coming this week to explain why, with the indexes at all hitting all-time highs, Zoom just fell completely out of bed. Who knows, but let's keep an eye out. Thanks for checking this out, and subscribe to this channel if you want to see the next video or the next short, which is a video representation of my writings on the blog at 122.com. Sorry, drduru.com/122, all lowercase letters, all words. See you there. Thanks for checking it out. Bye-bye.